Welcome to the Paperless Productivity Podcast, where we have experts give you the insights, know-how, and resources to help you transform your workplace from paper to digital, all while making your work life better at the same time. Thanks for joining us. My name is Steve Gliski, your host, and today we're going to be talking about TrueSign, our cloud solution for quickly signing and approving documents anytime, anywhere. I have two special guests with me from ImageSoft. They are Terry Chaudhuri, our senior sales engineer, and Tim Zarzycki, senior account executive. Welcome, guys. Terry, we're going to lead off with you, my friend. What makes TrueSign such a great enterprise signing platform?
Well, there's a lot of signing options out there. So it really starts with, finding a solution that's kind of easy to get started with. It has to be a cloud solution, minimal setup, and overall, easy to learn, easy to configure, and easy for all the types of people who'll be using it. There's a lot of different users and different technical aptitudes, so it really has to be pretty straightforward. And then it has to be a single platform. People don't want to bring in a lot of different solutions that don't need to. So one that works across the organization for all the different use cases. And really, you're talking, your internal signers for your day-to-day operations and external people. So when you need to involve others that aren't part of your organization and really who aren't physically near you, we can bring them all into, that process flow and get signatures all using a similar tool. And then I guess lastly, it's really the cost too. It has to be a cost-effective solution. We see a lot of departmental type solutions bringing something in to serve a specific purpose, but when you expand that to other departments or an entire organization at the enterprise level, it can get pretty expensive pretty quickly if that pricing model doesn't really align with how you do your business.
Okay, excellent. How about security and compliance? Like for CJIS and HIPPA, it's a cloud solution. It's built on a very secured Microsoft Azure Cloud. Is that correct?
That's correct. So we inside of our ImageSoft Cloud, we leverage the Azure and the Azure government for those customers who are in that space. And that comes with a lot of compliance already built in just with that Azure framework. So we can make sure we're PCI compliant and FIPS and CJIS. So for all those who understand those compliance standards, allows us to align with those pretty easily.
Okay, great. Hey, Tim, what kind of activity are you seeing with your customers adopting TrueSign?
Yeah. Great question, Steve. Obviously, with COVID-19, we're in a situation where offices are potentially closed or down to limited staff, and we need both internal and external signatures capability tools. So we are seeing a lot of internal requests just to get signatures from department heads or office individuals that need to sign documents. And then there's the real need, which is to get the public to sign documents externally. And so that capability is in high demand, and we're seeing a lot of activity in customers requesting that capability.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Could you give us some examples on how they're using the solution with the external signers, what you're seeing?
Yeah, for external signatures, we have child support units inside of government agencies trying to get documents signed by parents or guardians that need to get signed. They may need to sign both parents, and the capability to be able to, have one sign first and then a second one. We're seeing even agencies that are just requiring, signatures from vendors, right? Vendors like us at ImageSoft doing work with government, signing contracts. Those contracts need to be signed still. And so getting it over to a vendor to sign externally is a great way to use the TrueSign solution.
Okay, appreciate that. Yeah, the endless possibilities with all the departments. Hey, Terry, you mentioned, that TrueSign has some unique features, and I know one feature that the older version of TrueSign had was proxy signing. How's proxy signing used with our new release? And if you give us some examples of both government and commercial customers on how they use it?
Sure. So really the concept of proxy signing is just, granting someone else the ability to apply your signature. So signing on your behalf. And we see this in a lot of different areas. So one is in particular, if you're talking in the court space, judges will often have a judicial assistant who can in theory apply a signature to certain documents. So the audit trail will track the logged in user, but the document will actually have the signature of the authorized person signing the document on the face of that document. So users can manage that going forward. And even if you think of just internal processing, there might be purchase orders and things like that are signed to get through a process, and often they're signed by an assistant or somebody in that capacity when the CEO or a president is not physically signing everything that comes through. And this concept has been going on for a long time, but the ability now to do that very easily with a signing tool, and the owner of that signature can manage, and they grant rights to a specific user, set of users who can apply their signature. So it works well for those use cases where that's needed.
So it's an easy way to kind of securely delegate work, and it's very transparent because of all the audit tracking that takes place. So I know that in the court space, they really take advantage of that, and I can see a lot of other use cases for that. So thank you. Hey, Terry, just as a quick follow-up on that, with the pandemic, everybody working from home and remote, how does TrueSign complement online meeting products like Zoom?
Yeah, so since TrueSign is a cloud signing tool, it fits into so many use cases, and one in particular is the online meeting concept. So we do have a QR code feature that while on a Zoom call or any other type of, WebEx or other type of video conferencing tool, you can enable that QR code out so that a user on the other side or in another part of the world can actually use the camera on their phone just to scan that QR code and take them right into a signing interface. So it turns their phone into a signature pad device and allows them to sign a document. So just the power of that, being able to, in real time, have an external person, another person in another part of the world, sign a document while you're on a video call with them is very powerful.
Very powerful indeed. That's like magic, where just instantaneously on demand, it turns any smartphone into a signature pad. That's fantastic. Hey, Terry, also about what's the process and effort level required to integrate TrueSign in with some other application, say, if they're not using OnBase?
Yeah, and as most people know today, there's so many applications out there, and organizations have many of these in use today. If you're talking, HR systems and onboarding, or financial and accounting systems, case management, ticketing systems, all these different types of applications are in play in organizations. So we do need a way to easily connect those to a single signing tool. So with that, TrueSign does publish out these REST API endpoints so that really virtually any system that can call a REST API can connect. And that means, authenticating, passing documents, getting them signed, and returning them back into that essentially application all seamlessly. So now pretty much any application can leverage the signing component if it doesn't already have, native signing functionality. So that's just a great way to bring, again, a central tool in, and any application can, in theory, connect to it and leverage the signing capabilities.
And that's something that they can do. They go right up to the site, all the documentation's there, they can test it. And what's the typical amount of effort required to integrate TrueSign? You have any effort estimate? Is it weeks or hours, days?
It's really just a few hours. I mean, we put solutions in with a test workflow and things, in an hour or so. Just getting those, making sure the endpoints are connecting correctly. So it's very minimal effort on the IT side of the organization now, because of those REST APIs are so easy to connect to. And you're right, the documentation is all out there on the TrueSign website, and the test harnesses to connect. And you can even, without writing code, practice testing, setting up a connection and creating an envelope and passing documents right there on the public-facing version of the TrueSign site.
Hey, Tim, this is probably a question for you, but most solutions will have an integration cost, like they'll have a license model for an integration type connector, but for our REST APIs, there's no costs for a customer to integrate with TrueSign. Is that correct?
That's correct, Steve. We're really doing cost in a couple of ways. It's really about users or envelopes. And so if you're an internal user trying to use it inside your own organization, we have a mechanism to charge a per user type fee for that signature and the signature capabilities, including the workflow functions and setting up the workflow pieces inside of TrueSign. For external purposes, just like what you do in the mail today, you have the capability to do an envelope, right? So you can throw as many documents into that envelope that need to be signed. You can, again, use the workflow process to set up anchor points for both signatures and initials. You could set up workflow process to be able to allow users to kind of issue the signatures one at a time if need be. And those platforms from an envelope perspective are really just a per envelope charge. And so there's tiered charges there. The more envelopes you buy, the cheaper it gets. And in comparison to other platforms that are out there, we are price competitive for a feature-rich product like TrueSign.
Okay, very good. And what next steps would you recommend, Tim, for someone that's interested in learning more?
Yeah, sure. That's great. We have obviously TrueSign.com, which is the website directly sign up for TrueSign. You can actually use, and that is the login to TrueSign.com if you do sign up as a user. You can actually go out there and perform a live demo. I actually just did this with one of my customers where you can actually test out the QR code that Terry was talking about with a Zoom meeting. You can actually test it out for yourself. You'll receive an email that shows you how to download the document. And then once you're done you can add initials, you can add check marks. So we kind of give you the features and capabilities in that live demo and allow you to see and try the product yourself. You can also reach out to us, ImageSoft sales team member, to learn more, to get a demo, to get pricing, and we would be happy to help, kind of facilitate that conversation. Real easy to get set up and signed up, and so we encourage everyone to just reach out to us either through TrueSign.com or through our sales team here at ImageSoft.
Okay, terrific there, Tim. Yeah, so in summary, we get a better solution for less money. I also want to mention Paul Gorman, our senior account executive, wrote a terrific blog on best practices for signing, and he covers those processes that you were talking about today about external signers, collecting signatures at the office, and internal signing. So definitely encourage all our listeners to read up on that blog as well. But that is going to be the final question for today. Terry and Tim, thank you so much for your time. It's been a wonderful discussion. And for our listeners, we appreciate you downloading this podcast. Thank you, and have a great day. Thanks again for joining us on this podcast. To learn more about ImageSoft, please visit ImageSoftInc.com. That's ImageSoftInc.com. If you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe to Paperless Productivity, where we tackle some of the biggest paper-based pain points facing organizations today. We'll see you next time.